Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Usually Fixing and Tinkering. This is a small quick update on what has happened with Project Beatrix. As you can probably see by my surroundings here, I am at home. We made it back without a single issue really. The only problem we had after fitting the new cap that had come with the tank that Darren very kindly sent me, that cap fitted absolutely perfectly fine. I have it in my pocket if I can find it. Unfortunately, what has happened with subsequent faulty caps, two of them in fact, is that it's caused a bit of an airlock in the system. And with a K-series, getting an airlock is quite serious, and it can actually make you think you've got a head gasket issue. And believe you me, for a second I thought something serious had gone wrong with Beatrix, because once again after that video it decided to overflow from the expansion tank completely. But no panic, the car drove absolutely fine, and I thought, this is not right, this isn't a head gasket fault, because with a head gasket you would have more of a lumpy running issue than anything else. It would be very obvious that there's something wrong, and this car made it over 3 hours of driving, 180 miles from Kent, absolutely fine. It sat in traffic. It did get high in the system because the air was trying to push out, so there was a big massive airlock somewhere in this engine, and the advice that I was given as soon as I got back here was to drain the system completely, which I did yesterday. So I took the bottom radiator hose out, I took the feed pipe from the tank into the coolant rail that I took off when I replaced the coolant rail, and the pipe that goes from the thermostat into the heater matrix. I took all three off, I blew some coolant out, tried to get as much out as possible, and then I refilled the system with a combination of some fresh antifreeze and some deionized water, and I filled it extremely slowly. The technique for that I've been told by Darren, and it's worked an absolute treat on this, is you take that bleed screw straight out, okay, on the rail. You take it completely out. You fill the system very, very slowly until there is a steady stream coming out of that bleed nipple. Then you put it back on and you leave it, don't take it out. What I've been doing in the past is taking that out regularly, but what I might have been doing also, instead of just releasing it, it might have been adding air to the system. You've got to think about it like that, and I think I've been causing the issue as well as faulty caps over a long period of time. But it does appear to be that was the issue. But then once you've got that back on, you just keep filling the system very slowly, squeeze your noses, take about 20-30 minutes to do it. And then once it's up to the max, switch the heater on to the maximum setting so you get a full flow through the heater matrix, and then run it through. And believe you me, for a second I panicked because the level went up again and it was getting really close where my finger is, and I thought, oh no, not again, because really it should only rise just above the max. You see where the coolant level is, it's just below the maximum and it's pretty cold, but it should just rise to above the max. That's normal, okay, normal expansion, but it shouldn't rise that much. But then I literally got my hand, squeezed this hose, and oh my goodness me, it went down. It literally, the biggest gargle you have heard in your life. It was literally like somebody blowing up wind. It was literally that bad, and then it just went down 2 centimeters in a couple of seconds, and I thought, damn it, I've got it. Even filling carefully, you will get air in a K-series, and getting air out of a K-series is a bit of a to get out. So yeah, make sure that you are doing that correctly. But now I've taken it on a journey, no problems. So what I had was a gigantic airlock. But what caused it? Well, I think it might have been some inappropriate filling after I changed the coolant pipe, but also I believe that I had 2 dodgy caps. The first cap has come from one of a couple of Rover suppliers. As I say, I'm not going to name them, I have contacted them, but just be aware, guys. Wherever you're getting your caps, be aware, because the one I replaced that with, that cap lasted 7 months before it lost pressure. but I've got a feeling that cap was never good in the first place. It was faulty from the get-go, and it was letting air into the cooling system over a period of 7 months driving, very, very slowly. I think it was a slow failure of that one. And then I replaced it with the so-called genuine X-Part cap, which has gone back to the post office for a refund. So I've got a refund from the eBay seller about that, because that one completely failed on the journey to Rob in Kent. And it completely deformed, which is why I thought there was a problem with these header tanks. I don't think these header tanks on the Mark IIs are as good as the Mark 1 tanks, but I've got a Mark 1 header tank without the hole for the level sensor, but I'd like to keep this tank. So correction, there's nothing wrong with this tank. It is 2 faulty caps. That is unbelievably unlucky. But the aftermarket X-Part, well, the genuine, supposed genuine X-Part one, I don't think was genuine. The one that said ERF on it, I don't think it was genuine. So you have, please be aware, guys, if you've got a Rover K-series, please be aware there are so many faulty caps out there, and you really have to be cautious when fitting a new one, whether the old one's given up or it's damaged or the seal's completely gone, you know. And usually you'll know because it won't keep pressure in the system. This holds its pressure so nicely. It just purrs. It's too good. And once again, I started thinking, have I done the head gasket? Is the head gasket failed again? Have the liners moved? Has something gone on? Have I got a crack in the cylinder head? So all these things were going through my head, and it started with the MOT test. So yeah, it started with the MOT test, and then it sort of spiraled from there. But there's nothing wrong with this thing. Honestly, it absolutely purrs, and it just goes to show that somebody else, I think, could have potentially seen that and thought, Christ, my head gasket's gone. And the garage down by Rob actually suggested that there was some severe crack in the head, but there was nothing confirmed. It was just a sort of quick 5-minute observation. But you do associate K-series, when's the head gasket been done? But as it's been proven, it's also a question of, have you got an airlock? So I'd really recommend, if you're getting overpressurizing of the fuels, of the cooling system, I should say, check for airlocks, because it's possible you have a faulty cap and it's been letting air into the system very, very slowly over a period of time. So I'm just so glad that this is being cleared up, because all sorts of thoughts were going through my head on the way back. But the reason I drove it back was simple. The car drove fine. There was no problem with it. I had literally no worries at all. So Beatrix lives on. Another, Rover 45 Mark II. Very rare cars. There's only about 600 of these left on the roads, and probably about 600 on sawn, as far as I'm aware. So I'm really pleased that this is working, and she does need a clean, because I tell you what, this is disgusting. I tell you what, oh God, the amount of rubbish you can pick up off the motorway. It's motorway cars. I've never had a motorway car in my life, because I've never needed to commute that long distance, but she's going to get a good nice clean up before the Pride of Long Bridge. But there's a couple of jobs I want to do, because I'm afraid that back box has got to go. I'm not happy with it. It's absolutely shot. People are now starting to tell me it's your back box blowing. I'm afraid it's more of a maraca, and I think the baffles are collapsing even more. Unfortunately, as the owner, I don't notice things, but then when I go to somebody's house that I've not been to in a few months, and they say, Beatrix is sounding a bit more boomier than what she was before. So I've got to sort that out. It's going to happen. That's the next job on my list. They're not cheap back boxes, but I'll see if I can find one with a new flange gasket. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave this here, but please buy beware. This cap, well, this is the cap that got me home, okay, and it works. This cap is the genuine MG Rover cap that Beatrix had on the car when I bought her, and I did put it in my spares, and this also holds pressure. So there you go, guys. I'm going to leave this here. You take care, and there's going to be quite a few episodes coming out, and I've done a little bit of experimenting with Beatrix, particularly with a GoPro. You take care, guys. I shall see you very soon.